Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard of The Godfather, you've heard of The Shawshank Redemption, but there is one movie that sits on the throne above them all. One movie to rule the rest of the movies. Smiley. The 2012 phenomenon with Shane Dawson and 10 Seconds of Tobuscus revolves around a smiley-faced killer that hunts people and kills people through live chats. In this video, we will be going over the events that unfold in this masterpiece to see if we can make better decisions than our heroes in order to stay alive and beat Smiley. Stick to the end to find out about the bone-chilling twist that will put Shutter Island to shame. Stacy is babysitting Mary and she's terrible at her job. If I let a kid jump scare me with a demon mask, I'm pulling the belt out. These hands are rated E for everyone. What's even worse is that she's letting this 10-year-old on an online web chat. If there's one thing everyone knows about these things is that 9 out of 10 users have their meat swinging around on their camera at 480p definition. Mary then tells Stacy about an urban legend called Smiley who stitched his face shut and kills people when summoned. Apparently he appears behind the other person you're chatting to and unalives them if you type in "I did it for the lulz" 3 times. And that's lulz spelled L-U-L-Z by the way, thought I'd mention that. Damn, spooky stuff, but if any 10-year-old kid told me this, I would rightfully laugh it off like Stacy does. There's more pressing matters on web chats like meat being swung around, so I'll just tell her to go do some homework or something. Parental controls on network services are also a good way to prevent your little ones from being scarred for life. Anyway, Stacy's curiosity gets the better of her and she logs onto the live chat later that night. Unbeknownst to her, the person on the other end types in "I did it for the lulz" 3 times and Smiley appears behind her and shanks her to death. Okay, this is a sticky one. It's easy to view it from the lens of the audience and say she was dumb for trying it, but ask yourself this, when you were little, how curious were you? I sure as hell remember going deep into the creepypasta rabbit hole and trying to find that cursed Squidward video or that one YouTube video where people who watched it supposedly offed themselves. I'm sure a lot of us also tried summoning Bloody Mary in front of the mirror, so I don't blame her for hopping on the chat. When the person types it in, she could have closed the tab which may have prevented Smiley from spawning in. However, when it does appear, since we don't even know if it's human or not, she's tough out of luck as it appears behind her way too quick before she can react, therefore her death was unbeatable. Fast forward to our protagonist Ashley, who has just arrived to her new college dorm. There, she meets her new housemate Proxy, who invites her to a party happening later that night. At the party they meet Zane, who spouts 2 minutes of the worst written movie dialogue my ears have ever been exposed to. Moving on from Zane, they also meet Binder, who Ashley eagerly approaches because early on she mentioned that she's into nerds and this is clearly a nerd I guess. Their conversation is interrupted when other people at the party recognise Binder as the person who reported a bunch of posts on their forum page and they call him Pedo Bear for it and force him to leave the party. Why are they calling him Pedo Bear and what post did he report to warrant such a nickname? All red flags that would have my ass headed home and looking for new friends. If these red flags weren't red enough for Ashley, then check this out. They gather around the computer as you do at a party and decide to hop on the web chat to type in "I did it for the lulz." The woman on the other end gets brutally killed by Smiley and Ashley is the only one who reacts. The rest act like normal as if it was an ordinary thing and continue partying. Okay, now this is concerning. We've just seen them bully someone and then proceed to maybe kill someone and not a single person batted an eye. This is Ashley's chance to hang out with a different crowd and if she chooses not to then she deserves everything that is to come. The next day, Ashley wakes up hungover and late to her first class. After her class, Proxy shows her a new video of a drunk guy getting shanked by Smiley. For some reason, now is the time her evolutionary survival genes kick in. She begins probing in on how real this could be, but Proxy responds by saying that there's no way to be certain. Furthermore, no one has contacted the police as they believe it to be unnecessary. Proxy also mentions that the guy being stabbed on camera hasn't been seen or heard of since. Oh yeah, because that definitely isn't something to be worried about. I think that's more than enough grounds to call the police or at least file a missing persons report and use the video as evidence. Remember, despite common beliefs, there's no wait time to file a missing persons report. You should do so if you believe it's appropriate or even if you have a sliver of doubt because it's better to be safe than to be sorry. They both come to the conclusion that it's fake, agreeing to never summon Smiley again and moving on with their lives. Just kidding, they hop onto the chat to try it themselves. They find their potential victim and type in "I did it for the loves" 3 times. Smiley then spawns in behind the dude and shanks him right in front of the girls. They both freak out and Proxy makes a promise to keep this a secret between them. The next day, Ashley bumps into Binder at the library and he displays the most immaculate riz I've ever witnessed, so much so that I had to pull out my notepad mid-movie and start taking notes. As a result, they exchange numbers after discussing the shared interests of Smiley. Back at home, Proxy invites Ashley to another party hosted by the same people. Surely Ashley doesn't go, right? Later that night, Ashley goes to the party. There, Zane and Mark tell her that they haven't seen their friend since the Smiley incident, and Ashley voices her concern about the fact that he could be dead, but they laugh it off. Zane then pulls her aside and tells her that he summoned Smiley as well out of curiosity and believes he's responsible for the death of another kid. This makes Ashley sick as it reaffirms the fact that she killed someone, and she decides to leave the party by walking home alone. On her way home, Ashley begins feeling discombobulated and hallucinates that she's being stalked. She turns round and sees nothing, but when she turns back she sees Smiley holding a knife. Smiley begins running her down like it's prime South London, coming like, Hey blood, where you running fam? Oi, come here, I just want to chat to you real quick my G. Ashley makes it home, but Smiley uses Mike Myers' teleportation to jump scare her by appearing in her bedroom. She gets cornered, and just before Smiley is about to slice her up, she wakes up and it was all a dream. What is this 7th grade storytelling? Anyway, she goes to a psychiatrist about the vivid nightmares and is told that it's most likely a result of extreme stress and anxiety, to which she gets prescribed medication. I beg your pardon? I don't need a 4-year medical degree and an additional 6 years of psychiatry training to tell you that seeing a masked creature stabbing someone on video chat multiple times is a result of my college stress. I mean, there's been other people around us that have seen it. Someone's missing, for God's sake. Later that day, she meets up with Zane and Proxy and finds out that Zane is a hacker for a group similar to Anonymous. They come to the conclusion that Smiley is some evil entity that is hunting them down. As a result, Ashley goes to the library to do research on Smiley, but then gets jump scared by Binder. Oh yeah, this film has roughly 100 jump scares of literal random moments like someone going up to someone. I swear 1 in every 5 character dialogues begins with a jump scare. Anyway, they discuss Smiley and find out Binder tried it as well, but the person on the other end didn't die, which they conclude that it only works if you really want the other person to die. That night, Ashley logs onto the web chat again because curiosity is a bitch and finds Smiley on the other end chilling. She tries to inquire with it and find out what it is, but gets jump scared by Proxy, who tells her to leave it all alone. If it were me, I'm typing in "I did it for the lols" against Smiley, so another Smiley jumps the original Smiley, then sitting back with popcorn while I watch 2 Smileys fight it out. Following this, Ashley continues to hallucinate, seeing and hearing Smiley everywhere she goes. I can't lie, it's literally a 10-minute montage of Ashley being jump scared by Smiley and even being stabbed by multiple Smileys at one point. Okay, at the moment, nothing makes sense. At first, we thought Smiley only makes a one-time appearance if the keywords are typed in on the site, but now Ashley's case seems unique to the others. Not only did she find Smiley on the chat site, but she also hallucinates about him. This suggests that it has supernatural powers beyond our capabilities and understanding as of right now. Unless this movie was written badly, we can rule out this being a prank due to the randomness of the victims, the hallucinations and the teleportation abilities of Smiley. This is because if a random person were to summon Smiley onto someone, the person pulling the prank would have to be waiting in that person's closet. All of this proves too much for Ashley and she goes to the police. She should ensure that she is well prepped and has evidence on hand, otherwise she'll run the risk of being written off as a lunatic, which is exactly what happens. The police dismiss her claims, implying that she's going crazy and quite possibly on the receiving end of a large elaborate prank. I mean, can you blame them for saying this? They remark that no bodies have been recovered, but we do know one person who has gone missing. If it were me, I would avoid mentioning Smiley and instead say that I was anonymously told that a kid had gone missing and that he was involved with some very sketchy people. When the police do investigate, the whole plot should unravel itself. This doesn't happen though, and they ignore her, and rightfully so. Later that day, Proxy tells Ashley that she's going to her parents' house to get away from everything that's been happening. That night, she video calls Ashley and reveals that Zane isn't answering his phone and they fear that Smiley may have gotten to him. There are a million different things he could be doing. We know he's a hacker for a secret organisation, so he could be preoccupied there. He could also be out without connection or busy with the boys. What I'm trying to get across here is that it sounds too much like a trap. Ashley's on smoke though and rides out for her by going to Zane's house but finds it empty. She finds a convenient flashlight on the floor and stumbles upon a bloodied and dead Zane. Smiley then appears on screen calling her name out and talking hella trash to her. Ashley picks up Zane's gun and dashes home to tell Proxy that Zane's dead. Proxy tells her to call the police, but Ashley has a better idea. She asks Proxy to type in "I did it for the lols" 3 times so Smiley can appear and she can smoke him herself. That's pretty badass, I gotta admit. She types it in and soon enough someone barges through the door but it's Binder's dumbass who has now been shot. Had Binder knocked or announced his presence, this could have been avoided. As if that wasn't enough, Smiley then appears and slices Binder's throat. Ashley, being so trigger happy to shoot Binder, refuses to shoot Smiley for a good 30 seconds of screen time. When Smiley was spending roughly 10 seconds slicing his throat, why was she not unloading that clip into it and stomping on his head into pasty mush? And don't give me that fight, flight, freeze bullshit, because she was more than happy to shoot Binder's shadowy silhouette, so why is she now freezing up? It's not like it's her first encounter with Smiley either. Anyway, she starts hella screaming and shit and runs away with a loaded gun in her hand, by the way. She then locks herself in her room and gets jumped by multiple Smileys and her gun jams, of course. Seeing no way out, she jumps through the window and dies right on the spot. Some philosophical ass quote begins playing in the background with somber classical music, as if the director really thought he just cooked up some Oscar winning movie. Blood really thought he crafted the next Citizen Kane. Anyway, after that trash ass philosophical monologue, the Smileys reveal that they were actually Zane, Mark, Proxy and their people who supposedly died earlier. Also, listen to this Oscar worthy dialogue. This is their reaction to Ashley dying.
Dude, that bitch went fucking splat.
Yeah, I gotta Instagram that.
They begin talking about continuing the legacy of Smiley like they have some Chicago Bulls dynasty going on. After they all leave, Zane calls Proxy and she asks why they did it and he types in "I did it for the lols" 3 times. In an unexpected plot twist, the real Smiley comes out and stabs Proxy through the face, killing her before waving goodbye to Zane. In the end, I have no idea what the fuck is going on. Firstly, how did Ashley end up in her bed when stalked by Zane and Proxy? They would have had to knock her out, but she woke up with no pain or bruises. How did the hacking group luck out on every single person that typed in "I did it for the lols"? How did they cause Ashley to have hallucinations and dreams? How did they whisper shit into her ears? What would have happened if Ashley typed in "I did it for the lols" while on chat with the Smiley? Would another Smiley spawn in and try to kill original Smiley? What if we spam it and create a WWE Royal Rumble of Smileys where it's a 10v10 Smiley fight and then we start placing bets on who would win? Why did Proxy agree to type in "I did it for the lols" at the end, knowing that Binder, who she's working with, would appear and that Ashley would shoot her as she's got a fully loaded gun on display? Why is Binder not dead after getting shot? Was it a fake gun? Did she not feel it from the lack of recoil? Was he wearing a bulletproof vest if it was a real gun? More importantly, where was the real Smiley when all of this was going down? They clearly typed in "I did it for the lols" early in the movie, so where the fuck was he this whole time? With that being said, the real Smiley seems to be a supernatural evil entity that would need more time studying and extrapolating past cases before we can handle it properly, therefore it remains unbeaten. As for the hacker group, they've been carried by the power of bad writing, so they also remain unbeaten. Be sure to check out my other how to beats and slap that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. And remember, just because you have an idea for a movie doesn't mean it's good.